Good morning. Good morning. We hope you're having a terrific start to your day. Happy Tuesday. The week is yet young, as is the month. April 5th is upon us, and today is day number 17 already of our 30 days primed for success event. We're happy to have you with us along for the ride. Thank you for joining us. And today we're going to take a little look, we're going to explore neuroplasticity, which is a really fascinating concept that if you studied science or psychology or neuroscience 30 years ago, 35 years ago, you might have been laughed out of the field. We thought that the neurons of our brain, those nerve cells, were finite, if you will, that after an injury or a loss, we were not able to rebuild, we were not able to recover and restore mental function, cognitive function to a point, right? We thought we had limited resources after perhaps young adulthood, and those are the neurons that we have available to us. Fortunately for all of us, science has learned a lot in the last 20 to 25 years. And that's what's really fascinating about science, is that science loves to be proven wrong. Everything that we take as scientific fact is just a theory that has yet to be disproven. And so the real magic in curiosity and exploring what's truly possible is just that we get to keep learning and discovering and exploring. And some of these are such powerful new insights like neuroplasticity. So what does this mean? Now, you might have heard people say things like neurons that fire together, wire together, right? So we are, and the brain is a very energy greedy organ of our body. It takes a lot of energy to power all of the functions of our brain. It handles so much, everything we're not aware of, our breath, our heart rate, the methods of our sleep, to our more present, more conscious activities, like the words that I'm trying to form right now as I'm speaking to you. Deciding what I'm going to have for lunch later today, keeping track of time and the things that I'm doing. There's a lot of different functions happening at the same time. So our brains try to save some energy, save some effort, and do a lot of things by habit or patterns. And so, as these patterns or habits are established, they become, we call, second nature. We don't put as much attention to it, and we kind of default to certain things. When you're tying your shoes, you don't think about how to cross your laces and twist and pull through. It becomes second nature. So, many, many things that you might not expect also do. Sometimes our reaction to different situations. If you're the kind of person who, when you hear a deadline has been changed, expectations have shifted, you feel pressed for time or to produce on demand, your reaction might default to be one of stress, of anxiety. The heart is pounding, and that's a basic biological response. But your interpretation of that and the emotional response that goes along with that can become a pattern that is triggered without your awareness. So what if we use neuroplasticity to rewire some of these patterns? What if, when you hear bad news, you have traditionally thought to yourself, here's another instance of how everything is going wrong in the world. I have a lot of evidence to back up my theory. I can ruminate on all of these other examples of how things always seem to go wrong. And that can be a powerful pattern. What if, with a little bit of activation energy, with a little bit of effort up front, that becomes less over time, that becomes more easy and more second nature over time? Instead of, when you hear bad news, you file through those memory banks and pull up all the evidence why bad things always happen, you start to train your brain and say, yes, and there are still good things in the world. Yes, and perhaps the worst case scenario isn't what's going to play out. Yes, and I am taking action on the things that are within my own control, and that helps me feel less powerless in the world. There are ways that we can start to change our reaction, our response, and over time that becomes easier. So I was talking just a few days ago about raising your positivity set point. That's an example of neuroplasticity at work. When we engage in activities that bring us happiness, our brain starts to recognize that that is an emotion that we enjoy, that is important to us, and it starts to seek out more of the same. When we practice gratitude and we look back over the course of the day and think of 3 things that we are grateful for, our brain starts to try to save us energy. And in the future, when experiences come along and trigger those emotions, our brain says, this is one that we like, I'm going to go ahead and hold on to this because she's going to come back and look for this later. So we have extraordinary power to use neuroplasticity to change the way that we perceive the world. It's not simply getting in the habit of tying your shoes and getting out in the morning for the run. It's not simply the habit of preparing vegetables along with your meal so that you have balance, right? It's not always physical habits, it's not always the things that we tend to think of, but our emotional responses can also be cultivated over time to help pull us towards positivity so that over time it becomes easier and easier to default to that positive perspective rather than effort to bring ourselves out of negativity. This is something that I shared, and actually if you go back up through the guides, maybe guide 2 or 3 is where we shared the replay of the workshop that I shared at the very top of our 30-day series. But at the beginning, I talk about my own experience with positivity and how even before it was widely recognized and acknowledged, I inadvertently was using positive psychology to help myself feel more positive and energized on a consistent basis. So a little insight there if you feel like going back for that workshop. I try to keep it quick moving. It is about 30, 40 minutes, maybe 45, but that story of my own is in the first few minutes of that replay. So if you feel like checking that out, let us know here in the comments. If you went back and collected that information, let us know what you feel lands with you or resonates with you. Have you found neuroplasticity to play a part in your life? Do you notice anything that comes up for you that has become easier over time? Or is there something you would like to make more easy and second nature in your life? Like feeling more positive or something else that's important to you. We will share posts throughout the day, later on in the day, but I'll give you a little head start on your success work. If you haven't activated the coaching pearls, this is a great day to do that. And if you have, you might need to scroll back and take a look back towards the beginning. So if you haven't activated your coaching pearls, you can do that in the dashboard when you go to the Positive Prime website. Along the left column there are the coaching pearls. Once you activate those, one is delivered every single day. So if you've been receiving them through the course of our series, you might need to click on View All, and that will spool out all of the coaching pearls that you have access to, these 3-minute insights and gems of wisdom from the different coaches in the Positive Prime community. And today I'd like you to go back and look for day number 2 coaching pearls called Experience Positive Emotions. This is a message from our founder, Kim Serafini, and offers another insight or perspective on the benefit of feeling positive emotions and ways in which you can cultivate that feeling for yourself. So we'd love to hear from you about that one. We'll have that post up later in the day, and then we invite you to comment there, share your experience. And remember, the more you comment and engage in these posts through the week, our selfish purpose is to keep reminding you to check in and use your Positive Prime so you get the benefit of this 30-day trial experience. But for you, you may benefit at the end of the week as our most engaged members are in the running to receive the gift of the week. And so we'll be drawing a prize at the end of this week. We're up to day 3, and so we want to reward you for sharing your precious time and attention with us. We're grateful to have you here. Thank you so very much for being along for the adventure, and we'll be back online tomorrow to see you live then. Wishing you a marvelous rest of the day with some happiness along the way. We'll see you here soon. Take good care.